Had he been white, he would have walked out of that war with the Medal of Honor. The Harlem Hellfighters was a regiment of New York National Guardsmen in the First World War. They were set up to fail by their own government. They were humiliated, degraded, eventually given to the French army as a throwaway, and they ended up coming home as one of the most decorated units in the entire US Army.
The Harlem Hellfighters are one of the most important regiments in American history. In World War I, they helped to establish to the entire world the power of black soldiers in the military.
It was very difficult at that time for African Americans to get into the United States military because there was this perception that African Americans would not do well in battle. They had to overcome the prejudice of their own countrymen and yet also perform ably on the battlefield.
Like so many units of African American descent, when they go overseas, they're not sure what they're going to do. Are they going to fight as infantry? Or are they going to be stevedores and load ships? Or are they going to be labor units and cut wood?
And so they're committed to labor duty, they're unloading ships, building latrines.
What's the story, people? I had to check this out. When I seen the title, I'm like, oh my God, I have to check it out. I already know it's going to be unbelievable because no one talks about the black, the African Americans that fought in any war, World War I, World War II for America. You don't hear about it. I only know about there's a guy, the Black Shadow of Death, the first, there was a paratrooper. Oh my God, that guy's story, unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you guys haven't seen that, I did a reaction to that a few weeks ago. I absolutely loved that. But yeah, so this is the Harlem Hellfighters. This is already looking good. Let's go.
Type of support services. And as you can imagine, these men have been trained and they're willing to fight, they're ready to fight, and this is stressful for them.
They were finally given to the French army, which in a way was an even greater insult because in the First World War, when the United States entered, General Pershing, the commanding officer, was very clear that American forces would not be fed piecemeal into the French and British army because the French and British wanted reinforcements, and Pershing said absolutely not. When Americans join this war, they will fight as an American force under an American flag led by an American general. ... except for the black guys. You can have them.
Henry Johnson is perhaps one of the most remarkable black military heroes in U.S. history.
And he found himself in no man's land with Private Needham Roberts manning a listening post.
And Needham Roberts hears click, click, click. And he realizes somebody's cutting the wire. It's potentially a German raid.
And so Roberts is passing him grenades, and they line up these grenades, and the Germans actually do come across the lines. Roberts is hurt, and now Henry Johnson is left to defend their position and to stave off this attack. And then he makes the mistake of jamming a French cartridge into his American gun, and it no longer will work, and the Germans are on top of it.
He then used his rifle like a club, and then he ended up fighting with a knife against the Kaiser's best and turned them.
He's wounded in the fray. He's struck, for example, in the foot, and has a debilitating injury as a result. And he fights them off, he says, for what seemed like an hour.
The Germans ran shrieking into the night, all because of one man.
It's not until the next morning that people realize what a tremendous act this was. They discover 4 bodies of dead German soldiers. And they also realize from the equipment and other things that are left behind that as many as 30 may have been involved in this altercation.
As soon as he drove off those Germans, the French awarded him with the Croix de Guerre, a great honor. Unfortunately, it took about 75 years for the US government to give him the Legion of Merit. Had he been white, he would have walked out of that war with the Medal of Honor.
That's what I was going to say. Do you know how many people have reacted to, oh my God, that they've done less than that and they've got the Medal of Honor? What do you have to do? Do you know how crazy that is, that you're willing? That's why most people don't want to fight for the country, because they're like, why? What do I get from it? You're willing to risk your life. You're risking your life for your country and you're not being recognized. That's crazy.
Had he been white, he would have walked out of that war with the Medal of Honor. What was so shocking to me when I began to research the story of the Hellfighters was that after they had performed so magnificently in combat, the United States government actually sent a memorandum to the French government, essentially implementing Jim Crow, essentially saying, don't give them some notion that they are equals, because we don't want them taking that notion back to the United States and demanding equality.
When he come back to the United States, he's not awarded the Purple Heart. There's no notation in his military record of his injury. And so he winds up not being able to work because of this injury. He doesn't get any kind of assistance from the army or from the government as a result. And he ends up dying in 1929 penniless. So it again shows the paradox. Here's this great story of valor and of courage on the part of this soldier. And ultimately, he comes back to a nation that doesn't honor that sacrifice.
We tend to think we all know American history so well, but the story of the Harlem Hellfighters should be one of the...
These are the stories that you guys don't hear about. I'm gonna make sure you hear about. I promise you. As long as I've got breath in my lungs, I'm gonna be reacting to stuff like this, because this deserves to be seen. Kids deserve to know about this, to show them, look, you have freedom today because you have people like this that are willing to fight 100 years ago. People willing to risk their life. Imagine, he died in 1929, penniless, without getting any award. And it's the fact that they said the generals sent their memorandum saying don't treat them the same so they don't come back. They just risk their life for the same country. Wow.
First stories told. It wasn't about killing other people. It was about being Americans and serving their country well. That was the inclination of the Harlem Hellfighters.
When you are African American in 1917, democracy is armor. Democracy is a weapon. And to fight for a war to make the world safe for democracy was something more than just some ethereal crusade for the Hellfighters. It had concrete results. They were fighting for the rights to be a citizen of the country that they were born in.
I feel like they were just numbers, literally. They were numbers that back then, I feel like today, I hope it's different. I really hope it's different today. I really, really hope it's different. But back then, they were just numbers that the US government didn't care about. Just give them to the French. Let them do what they want to do. They didn't care about who died, da. Look at that. These are people, these are names that their stories would never be here. They got great-grandkids that they don't know that their great-grandfather did this, did that. That's ridiculous. After risking your life for your country, coming back to nothing. It's so crazy because I remember when I was younger, I told my mom, because like where I lived in Ireland, it's very close to the Irish army base. And I told my mom that, oh, you know what, I wouldn't mind joining the army because a lot of my friends joined the army and they're still in the army. They do peacekeeping in Syria and Israel. And I told my mom, I would love to join the army. My mom was like, nope. And back then I was like, why? Why are you so against it? It makes sense to me now. She's always saying that, look, no matter how much I think that I'm being seen the same, it's never going to be this. I'm never going to be treated the same. No matter how much I want to be treated, I want to think I am being treated the same. It's so crazy because I just grew up in such a world that I never really see racism. So other people around me might see it happening to me, but I just don't see it. Because it's my character, it's my personality just to be happy, just go lucky. But Ireland, it was amazing. Growing up in Ireland was absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Parents know best. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know. Do you guys have any more stories about this? I like stuff like this. We're learning. We're cousins. Most of you guys are commenting, sending messages on Instagram, on TikTok, saying cousin. So we are cousins. I think we are cousins. But yeah, let me know what you guys want to see next. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I hope to come to the United States, to Texas in January. Fingers crossed. I want to go to an HEB, get some fresh produce. That'd be really lovely. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.